All right, night 3 of the DNC. It is definitely a late night, but we found people who are willing to stay up to 12:43 in the morning to talk about it. So let's bring them in. Democrat Titus Nichols and author of the book Kick-Ass Conservative, Joy Villa, both up late with me on the Final Five. Great to see you guys tonight. Thank you.
Hi, good evening.
All right.
I'm on the West Coast.
Great to be here.
Titus, I'm going to start with you since you are the returning guest here. We heard from a few familiar faces tonight. President Obama. We heard from Hilary Clinton. We heard from Elizabeth Warren. And of course Kamala Harris. What was the theme that you picked up tonight watching this?
Well, Jim, thanks for having me back on the show. I want to say that today's episode of the DNC convention was historical. I mean, you had Kamala Harris, the first African American and South Asian woman nominated to be VP of a major ticket. And so you also had the fact that her speech, as well as President Obama and Senator Warren's focus on the need for people to get out and exercise their right to vote. That, as President Obama said, democracy is at stake. So today's speeches weren't so much about just beating up on Trump. Specifically, it was about Americans getting out there and exercising their constitutional right and making sure that our democracy is protected by voting.
Joy, we're 3 days into what has been an unprecedented convention so far. What have you picked up as you've been watching and following along?
Yeah, I've been following closely. Hillary Clinton managed to gloat over her loss while weirdly staring off center of the camera, but yet also somehow seeming to play the victim when she said that you could still lose by 3 million votes, still lose the presidency. So I felt like she was kicking a dead horse, but every time we put Hillary on TV, she seems to talk about her 2 presidential elections she lost. Billie Eilish was up there. I felt like it was a bit of a mess. She looked like someone had put a gun to her head, or she was up too late. She was unhappy. We had Kamala Harris. She's jailed more black men and brown men than the Kardashians have dated. I mean, it was an absolute, trying to be so pop culture and trying to be so we are unified and we're together. At least they didn't have the same Billy Porter. I don't know what that was the last night, but they didn't be as cringy. But it seems like the Democrats are ill prepared for the Trump wave that is about to hit them, just as they were in 2016.
So I think, and that's the point you bring up there, Joy, that I'll take to you, Titus, is that we know that Democrats for years and years and years, they've relied on star power, and it has been, because clearly you have a lot of support in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, and we saw each night of this emceed by a different actress. Tonight was Kerry Washington from Scandal. What is that when you look at the Democratic Party, when you look at the message they send, they've been trying to mix in these so-called real Americans, the real people, with the celebrities. Does that strike a good balance for them, do you believe?
Every time I hear someone from the GOP complain about the Democrats bringing celebrities to the convention, I think it's just a case of sour grapes. I mean, because look at who the Republicans were able to scrape up. Scott Baio and Clint Eastwood talking to an empty chair for 10 minutes. So when that's the type of star power that you have at your fingertips, I can see why the Republican Party is a bit bitter about all the celebrities who want to be a part of motivating Democratic voters to exercise their right to vote. In regards to whether or not they're in touch with the common people, the DNC is doing a great job of featuring regular people who have been affected by President Trump's failed leadership, as well as small business owners who have been negatively affected by his failed leadership. As far as having the individual celebrities, you've had Eva Longoria, who has been involved in politics for over 15 years. She isn't just doing this because it's going to increase her Instagram following. She has been on the front lines, getting people involved and educating people as to what the important issues are.
Joy, so tomorrow night is going to be Joe Biden's night. He's going to give the speech that he's tried 3 times to achieve. He's at that point. He's going to give it. Do you think, but let's be honest, I feel like we're at the point now with no matter who we bring up in these conventions, you're really trying to appeal to a very small, increasingly smaller portion of the electorate that is undecided.
Absolutely. That's the thing is, they can have as many celebrities as they want. Absolutely. There's more, luminaries in the Democratic Party than you could say the Republican Party. But the facts are it comes down to votes. Just as we saw in 2016, the Democrats made a huge mistake in having Katy Perry and everyone else endorse and dress up and, make it like it's a big party. When it comes down to the American voter, we want to vote people in who are going to have good, policies that are going to affect Americans. They're not going to hurt Americans. We want less taxes. I mean, Joe Biden is proposing a $4 trillion tax bump. Nobody wants more taxes, especially not during a time like this when businesses are hurting. I do believe the economy is going to come back with a boom. I think the Democrats are going to struggle. They're going to keep having their fanfare and, celebrity of the week up there. But again, it's going to come down to struggling for votes, and votes are what matters.
Titus,
Jim, Joy brings up a very good point.
And go ahead and bring that point, because we're running out of time. I got about 20 seconds.
The point's going to be that it's going to come down to votes. If you look at the three important states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, those three states went to Trump last year by the last election by less than 75,000 votes. Those are also three states.
They went there.
Those are also states that have also turned blue in the gubernatorial house. Wisconsin has a Democratic governor. Michigan now has a Democratic governor. And you saw the blue wave that hit in 2018.
You also see, though, that there is an exodus of black and brown people leaving the Democratic Party. I talk about that in my book, Kick-Ass Conservative.
So
you're going to see a wave of brown, black,
for it.
Asian faces that are voting Republican because they're sick of Democrats.
I know
not enough of them.
We could talk about this for a while. Guys, I really appreciate you both staying up. It was a pleasure talking to you both.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.